even though once it had resulted in him falling from a tree and snapping his arm. He'd insisted to his parents that it had been his idea to climb, although it was William's. It always was. William was a daredevil, and Colin's pride compelled him to try his best to keep up. After a few deep breaths, Colin approached the stallion's pen. He plucked an apple from a bucket and cautiously held it on his flat palm. The horse nipped him, but Colin didn't cry out. He murmured to the animal in what he hoped was a calming fashion and tentatively stroked its snout. When it seemed comfortable enough with Colin's presence, and was munching the fruit, Colin clambered up onto the side of the stallion's stool. He took another breath, gathering his nerve. Then another. And another. He feared he might swoon before even getting on the horse at all. It's now or never. Patrick wouldn't play at cards all afternoon, and Colin's parents would return. Leaning over precariously, he reached for the door to the stall. He exhaled and muttered a quick prayer. Then he lifted the latch and dropped onto the horse's back, his fingers clutching its mane. The stallion bolted, hooves pounding as it burst out of the stable. Colin dug his knees and heels into the horse's flanks, trying to steer it around the building. As he held on for dear life, he very quickly realized he didn't have the skill or power to control the stallion, certainly not without a bridle. Panic flared as he gasped for air. Colin could hear William's faint shouts as the stallion thundered off across the meadow, but he didn't dare look back. All he could do was keep his head down and cling to the horse as it galloped away. Time seemed eternal as it ran across the grounds and continued along the river. He called for it to stop, his voice hoarse with terror, convinced of his impending demise, but the stallion had a mind of its own. The countryside was beginning to look frighteningly unfamiliar when suddenly another set of hoofbeats approached. He heard a voice, and then in one movement a strong arm pulled him from the horse's back as a rope looped over its neck. Colin found himself face down over the back of Patrick's horse as Patrick yanked on the reins and brought both animals to a stop. In one smooth motion, Patrick dismounted and put Colin on his feet. Colin was perilously close to tears and blinked rapidly, gasping, his heart thumping painfully. Patrick knelt in front of him and took his shoulders gently. He shook his head, clearly exasperated. "You're all right, lad. You're damn foolish, but you're all right." Colin struggled to catch his breath. He actually was all right. He was uninjured and, most remarkably, still alive. He'd never been so frightened in his life and hoped he never would be again. "I'm impressed you stayed on. You're a natural rider. Next time, come and ask and I'll give you a more suitable horse, eh?" Patrick mussed Colin's hair lightly. Colin nodded, amazed Patrick wasn't angry with him. "And next time, don't do whatever your cousin tells you. He's a little devil, that one." Patrick smiled, dimpling his cheek. "I should know. He reminds me of myself." He stood and glanced toward home. "Let's get you back before your parents return." Once Patrick was in the saddle, he swung Colin up to sit in front of him. They cantered back along the river, Patrick holding the rope with the stallion in tow. As they rode, Colin found he was actually enjoying himself. He felt utterly secure with Patrick at his back, and laughed with pleasure as they moved into a gallop across the final meadow. William paced by the stable, face pale with worry. "Colin, I thought you'd broken your neck for certain." Sliding from Patrick's horse, Colin grinned. "I told you I could do it." "He would have ridden all the way to Dover if I hadn't stopped him and made him come home." Patrick winked and dismounted. He led the two horses inside. William was shamefaced. "I shouldn't have made you do that. I'm sorry." Colin felt oddly exhilarated by the whole experience, despite his recent terror. "It's okay, Will." Just then the carriage could be heard on the drive. "Hurry! Let's pretend we were..."